What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 14 of the Online Trainer Show. So, in today's episode, I had the pleasure of talking to a good friend, Harry Ranson, who is an online coach who's been in the fitness industry for a fair few years now. He's got a lot of experience in different avenues, from running gyms to working with Bollywood trainers as well. So, he's very, very experienced in what he's done and lots of knowledge attained over the years. So, this was a great podcast for me just to learn more about how Harry runs his day, the way he attracts new people into his sort of online coaching business, and just generally how he goes about his day and everything as well. So it's a great podcast for those listening that are wanting to become online trainers and further their expertise. So enjoy this one, guys, and obviously remember to go and check out our free Facebook page, which is the Online Trainer Society, and post up any people that you would like us to be interviewing, anyone that you'd like to hear from. Let us know who you want to see on the show, and we will try and get them on. But enjoy the podcast, and make sure to check out the show notes for any details on Harry and his business. Cheers, guys. Right, hello there, and welcome back to the Online Trainer Show podcast. So today on this episode, we have very special. We've got Harry Ranson, who is joining us. For those that don't know, Harry is a natural bodybuilder, online coach, ex-celebrity Bollywood trainer as well. And you also used to own a gym as well, from what I can gather. So it'd be really interesting to kind of go into lots of different bits throughout your journey today. So really appreciate you coming on. So how you doing, Harry?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, very well, very well. Excited to chat about, more about online coaching.
Yeah, it's we've had some great guests on so far, and like I was just saying to you off air, like you really do fit the mold of the Online Trainer Show and who we're looking to really interview about people who are looking to grow their online coaching, because I've seen you do it over the years and you've been in the fitness industry for a long time now. So perhaps let's just start and talk about, I guess, your career in the fitness industry. Like, how did you start and to kind of where you are now? So just give us a bit of a little journey of the career so far.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm only 27. I say only 27. That's kind of like borderline, but I feel like I've been doing it for like ages. I've seen these guys coming up. They're sort of even like yourself, but even younger than that, sort of like 20, 21 years old, and I feel like a bit of a an old dog in the industry, I suppose. But yeah, I suppose it started back in 2012. I remember pretty vividly 2012, and I actually got into online coaching because I was coached myself.
Okay.
So I was coached by Eric Helms for about 3 years, between 2012 and 2015.
Yeah.
And it kind of opened the door. So I was like just a standard sort of PT before that, and I'd never really heard of online coaching before or the concept of it. So I was being coached by Eric, and you should probably agree, he wasn't as well known back then, but one of probably the best online coaches out there.
Yeah.
So I've managed to kind of learn a lot from him, and a lot of my coaching practices are probably based off a lot of what he taught me as well.
Yeah.
And not so much the actual the practical bits of online coaching, but more just like the way that you're communicating with clients, and the way that you communicate your message in general. So I learned a lot from him, rather than what macros someone should be on, but more so the communication. So 2012, I did some competitions, just some like fitness modelly stuff. This was before I did natural bodybuilding. And then I went to India, as you said. I was there for 18 months, and probably managed to hang out there for more than the majority of people. Because at the time, there were a lot of. I think Tom Mack, your coach, he was out there for like 6 weeks. So Tom, if you're listening,
he wasn't he? Yeah, I remember he went out there, for a little while.
Tom, if you're listening, you're a bottle job, mate. Lasted 6 weeks. I was there for a few months, or 18 months on and off. A couple of my clients managed to get on the front cover of Men's Health, which was pretty cool. And then back from there, throughout this time, I was kind of like building things up. I was actually coaching a lot of people for free.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time. I was fortunate I had a lot of time because I was coaching one client a day, one-to-one. Literally one client a day. I'd see them for maybe 2 hours, and the rest of the day was mine.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I coached a lot of people for free, just to get a bit of experience and kind of build the systems up.
Yeah.
And then I came back, opened a gym with a couple of pals of mine. So that went for 3 years. So that was one-to-one, just a private personal training studio. Went really well. Decided to kind of part ways, and just because the business was going a direction that I wasn't really like keen on.
Yeah.
And funny enough, one of your other guests, and someone that probably everyone knows, AJ, we actually employed him as a personal trainer. So that was before he got into online
Yeah,
coaching.
yeah.
So he worked with us. So um, yeah, so he's kind of everyone knows everyone in a way. Very, very small industry. So I did that for 3 years, and I was one-to-one PTing whilst building up my online coaching. I parted ways from the business, and I went full-time online June 2016.
Okay,
So I've been,
it's funny because I thought you would have been like full time online before that. Like when you sort of look at how long you have been obviously doing the actual
yeah.
coaching, like to actually then physically full time online in 2016. So that's interesting to see,
Yeah, I
actually.
mean, to be fair, I probably could have done full time online, like online before that,
Yeah,
but it was just because I was running the other business, so I was like turning clients away and things like that. So I
yeah,
probably could have been doing it before, but it was because I had my fingers in kind of multiple pies at that point.
yeah, yeah.
So I didn't want to take on too many. But then as soon as I kind of left the business, I was just like, right, and that's when I actually decided to compete to help generate more business.
Yeah,
And it probably wasn't like, I mean, I wanted to compete anyway. That wasn't like the sole reason to do it, but it sort of made sense to do it that
yeah.
year. And as you know yourself, like the attention on you like just becomes massive.
Yeah, it's
And
huge.
it,
Yeah.
so I was basically like going from probably 20 hours of one-to-one PT plus my online to just online. I
Yeah.
was like, right, I need to make this up somehow. So I was like, right, it makes sense. I'll do a competition, I'll compete, and that really helped. It
Hmm.
really helped, actually. I'm not suggesting everyone goes to compete to get more
Got to now
business,
do a comp prep. Yeah.
but it was the way that I thought of at the time. How can I draw more attention to myself? And it's not like in an egotistical way. It's just I knew, right, okay, I need to kind of cover my arse now,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
and do something about it. So that was more of an extreme example. But yeah, and so that's kind of what it was. And like I said, I've kind of been doing it ever since. And my girlfriend obviously does it as well
Hmm.
now. So we kind of do it kind of together. We're under the same umbrella. I mean,
Yeah.
and so she was working full time, and I said to her, um, about 6 months into it, I was like, quit your job and come and we'll work together.
Yeah.
So,
Why
so
not?
that's kind of where we are
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to touch on different points that we've talked about there, like later on in the podcast about working, obviously, with your girlfriend and the performance project. But I just want to backtrack about obviously working out in India.
Yeah.
For a lot of online coaches, they might be in a position where they could perhaps be presented with opportunities like that. How is that? How do you get into that? Is there a way into that which is, I guess, easier than another way in, or is it kind of you've got to know someone to be able to do it?
Well, it was a case of knowing someone, but only through them contacting me. So it
Yeah.
was actually through Nick Orton, who owns Body Power.
Okay.
And I was just posting information for probably about a year or 18 months on Facebook. It's just when, a lot of my attention on Instagram now, much like yourself. But at the time, I was just posting on Facebook and just like general kind of information that I post now. I mean, it
Yeah.
probably wasn't quite as good. I was just like trying to be super helpful to people. And then he just contacted me through Facebook, and he was like, look, I've got this opportunity for you. You posted great information. I think you'd be a great fit for it. And I thought it was a joke, to be honest. I was
Yeah.
21 years old at the time. I was still living at home. I was working out of a gym and doing a bit of PT here and there, but mostly like a gym instructor. And the next thing I know, 6 weeks later, I'm flying out to India.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to show the power of like social media, but
Mm.
also it was kind of being in the right place at the right time, but also I'd put myself in that position.
Yeah, for sure. With all the content that you've done previously.
Yeah, exactly. So he had noticed me from the content. So you really don't know who is looking and when. And I've been fortunate enough as well. I've coached a couple of like quote unquote influencers on Instagram, and I often say to them, I was like, well, how did you find me? And she's like, oh, well, I followed you and I just really like the information you're putting out. So, it's just, you don't know what's going to come up,
Yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
just got to keep push, like just keep being consistent every single day.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I think we all get caught in that trap of trying to like put out this amazing piece of content and suddenly blowing up. But the reality is, it's the long haul of consistently doing that over the years, the months, that really can lead to those moments like you've had with obviously being able to go over and coach people in India. So, which is wicked. So what did you actually do when you were over there? Like, did you prep their meals? Did you sort of just PT them once a day and that was it? Like, what was the kind of what you had to do?
Well, it was a little bit vague, the kind of brief that I was given, but obviously at this time I'd been PTing and I'd done online coaching and things like that, and I knew that it wasn't just a case of just training them.
Yeah.
So a lot of these stars, obviously they have like little posses of people, they have a little entourage. So they had their own chefs who spoke terrible English. So it was really, really difficult. But I often got a translator in. Again, there was about 50 million people around, so there was always someone that could speak English. And I would actually go to the kitchen of the client, and I would, cook alongside the chef. I mean, he would do it, but I would get the translators to say, right, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to cook. And traditionally in India, particularly, that they use very fatty cuts of meat. They use lots of oil, which we know isn't like always bad, but when you're trying to, diet down for a photo shoot, we know that we need to reduce calories. I mean, that's just kind of basic nutrition. So yeah, I would go in and I'd like kind of like write meal plans, and it was difficult. Like, when you're a film star I mean, my clients were awesome, but they would genuinely work 16, 18-hour days.
Wow.
I'm not going to be teaching them how to track macros.
Yeah.
Right, they need a meal plan. So I would go to the chef, I would write a meal plan for my client, they would prepare it for my client, and then they would literally send it to them in Tupperware or, I don't know, silver plates or whatever. So yeah, that was kind of how it worked. So it was kind of against at that time, IFYM was like the big thing. So it was kind of against what I was, all about in terms of like being flexible and stuff. But it was like, okay, well, they're not going to do that, so what's the next best thing? So it was about writing a meal plan, and yeah, it seemed to work. The language barrier was horrendous, but it worked. It worked.
Well, it's the thing. I think you've got to adapt to your client at the end of the day, haven't you? Like whatever situation they're in with their job, their lifestyle, you've got to adapt around them. And if the meal plan's better than IFYM, then that's kind of what it's got to be, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and that was exactly it.
So, would you say that coaching, obviously, the stars in India helped pave your career a little bit? Did it kind of help get you more on the map with other people around the world, especially that you were working out internationally? Did it help with gaining more international clients rather than ones in the UK?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I mean, I got a few international clients. I think, again, it was difficult because I ended up getting a lot of attention from Indian so Indian population and clients and stuff, but the language barrier was still very difficult.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult online to be able to explain how the kind of the nutrition and things like that work, and how the macros and all that sort of stuff. And I actually went out, when was it? I don't know if it was January last year, maybe, to do some seminars. So I actually did some seminars, like speaking to people about how to do it, because I think sometimes with online coaching, it can be quite difficult to go from A to Z, literally, like, over emails and videos and things like that. So yeah, I found I got a lot of attention, but again, it was one of those things like we spoke about before, about just that consistent long haul. I suppose it kind of did help give a bit of a leg up for a short period of time, but then that obviously phases out, and you can't just always rely on that 15 minutes of fame. You just need to keep going,
Yeah, for sure. No, that makes sense. You just got to keep going, be consistent, and that's really all you can do. And obviously, like while working away and stuff, then it kind of led to the performance project. So what was that? Was that like a commercial gym, or was it like a one-on-one PT kind of gym type thing?
Yeah, so we started off basically training out of pretty much a glorified garage almost.
Yeah.
It was, had a rolling shutter door, and it was actually in an industrial state, and it was a family friend. He owned some of these units, so we decided to rent one. We got a load of equipment in, and there was just three of us, and we were just one-to-one private personal training. And then I think maybe a year, maybe 18 months in, we decided to upgrade, and we went into a much bigger facility. It must have been anywhere from 4 to 6 times the size. We started kind of hiring freelance trainers, and this is where like AJ came in and
Yeah.
like a few others came in, just to work on a freelance basis. And it was just one-to-one PT, and it was great. We were doing really well. And then obviously as the business started to expand and started to grow, there were kind of two avenues. We could either continue to do the one-to-one side of things, or we could grow into kind of like small group training and things like that. And I wanted to go down the one-to-one route. Some of the other guys wanted to go down the small group training route. I was in the minority, so I was just like, do you know what? Fortunately I've got another thing I can go and do.
Yeah.
So I sort of bowed out. I was just sort of like, right, okay, you go and do your small group training. That's fine. I will bow out and do my sort of, one-to-one stuff. And, it's also about like the type of clients that I wanted to train. Like I don't really coach many beginners. I want to coach the people that have sort of gone over that first hurdle, and they just need to know like the next, I don't need to text them every morning to tell them to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like they've got the motivation, they just don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, it was just a bit different target market kind of thing. I mean, I learned loads from it. Definitely don't regret it at all, and it was fantastic 3 years. But it was just, again, just another kind of string to my bow. Like I know that now.
Yeah.
And that's it pretty much. Yeah.
Awesome. So there's probably a lot of online coaches listening to this that maybe are working in that kind of gym environment, maybe whether they're doing like the small personal training studio stuff or like working in big commercial gyms. How would you say for them to be able to get their foot into online coaching while still maintaining that? Because I can imagine it's pretty hard doing 30, 40 hours of PT plus probably a week and then building an online business. But obviously it's something that you've been able to do. So what were you kind of doing in that to really build the online while dropping one-on-one sessions as such?
Yeah, well, I think it's about transitioning like one-to-one clients into online is probably the easiest way.
Okay,
and I think, so you might have people signing up. The way that we did it, it was like a 12-week program, or at least a 12-week minimum commitment. And then you could say, right, okay, so you know how to exercise. We know how to, lift with good form, which is one of the things that online coaching you can't really do that well.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine you do it as well, and I do it like video critiques, but it's definitely not as good as one-to-one.
No, sure.
So for that first 12 weeks, you kind of nail those basics, and then you can actually transition those people into online and sort of say, right, okay, you were paying sort of £300-400 a month. You can now pay £100 a month. You'll still get access to me. The only difference is I'm not counting 1 to 10 next to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, obviously, like when you are one-to-one PT, there is more to it than that. But after a certain period of time, like 12 weeks, you've kind of taught them everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to exercise technique, and obviously there'll be like little tweaks here and there, but if it takes you longer than 12 weeks to teach someone how to squat and deadlift, then you might need to look for a new career. So I found that was a good way of doing it. It's just transitioning people out. And I think one of the problems that a lot of PTs make is they think, right, I want to be an online coach, therefore I'm just going to keep posting on Instagram, which is fine, and that will probably work. But it's like, you need to be looking like local first. And a lot of my first online clients, they were people like in my area, or ex-clients, or people that, I'd speak to down the gym and things like that. So that would be kind of the first way of doing it, is actually just transition the one-to-ones into the online first. And then once you start sort of getting results and things like that, then you can start to move into like looking further afield.
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, I think that's a great tip, because a lot of online coaches, they think now that they're coaching online, they need to attract people from the online world through Instagram, through Facebook. But like you said, and I'm sure this is probably what you did at the end of that 12-week coaching block, they then kind of transitioned into online coaching. One, it probably saved floor fees, and two, it saves up time for you as well. So it's kind of a win-win in that such, for the client now has to pay less. And you've then got more free time on your hands, and you're still getting paid for it.
Yeah, and they're much more like, they trust you. They're much more likely to stick to the program, the online program, and because they've already kind of invested in you, they're more likely to invest again and kind of keep it going. And it's that kind of like slow transition. between, becoming a little bit more autonomous. So they come to you for one-to-one, and then they do the online, and then after maybe another 12 weeks, they can go off and, they pretty much know what to do. They're pretty much sorted, aren't they? So,
cool. Yeah. So it's nice to see that sort of you've come from obviously that one-on-one PT background, and you've taken probably a lot of clients to your online ones, which I'm sure you've probably still got on your books today as well. So yeah, a lot of online coaches that are possibly scared of going into online, that's a simple method of getting there, really, isn't it?
yeah. And I think as well, like one of the things that stops people from doing online coaching is they think, oh, the market's saturated with online coaches. But there's so many people that still don't know what online coaching is.
Yeah.
Like my mum trying to explain to her friends what I do is just like pretty similar with you. It's like, what does your son do again?
Yeah.
Just like on like, oh, it's just say I'm an accountant or something. Like it's just easier, right?
I agree. I have so many conversations with people, and it's like, what do you do? I coach people online, and they're like, oh, how does that work then? Do you like film? Do you film yourself squatting and that's it? It's like, no, it's totally different. It's quite advanced actually, but
yeah, exactly.
Cool. So talk to us a little bit about your actual coaching and kind of what it involves. Like obviously, what are you doing now in regards to, I'm guessing it's just online one-on-one coaching. What's actually included in what you offer and everything?
Yeah, so I thought about doing kind of like group programs in the future, because I find that like over the past couple of years, I've kind of had to turn clients away, which is great, but I don't really have anything to offer people below that, which I know is like business kind of faux pas. Like I shouldn't be doing that, but it's just one-to-one. Again, it's the training, nutrition. Like I said, the video critiques. My clients check in with me every single week, and I do the video replies every single week. And that's actually, again, I spoke about the communication thing, and that's something that I picked up from Eric Helms. So when we were first working together, it was just email. So we just emailed each other back. I was perfectly happy with that, right? And then like maybe a couple of months into the coaching, like he started sending me a video, and I was like an excited school child at Christmas. I was like, this is amazing. Like he's sending me a video, like, and it just makes it so much more personal. So I started using that, and I noticed that a lot of other people are like using it now, using software called Screencast-O-Matic. And I know other people, I think you use it as well, like AJ used it, because obviously I showed AJ when we were working together, and it's just a great way of filling that gap between the just online and being a little bit more personal, and it just makes it better from a logistical perspective. When you've got to Skype people, like it's just a logistical nightmare. If you've got sort of 30, 40, maybe even 50 clients, you can't Skype people every single week. So yeah, exactly. It's just a nightmare. So just doing the videos, it just means that you can be a little bit more personal. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Just have like a 12-week minimum commitment. I've got, I would say 10 of my clients have been with me for over 3 years now.
Yeah.
And one of my longest standing client is from Chicago, and he's been with me for about 5 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to kind of keep people on and just have that kind of personal and be able to speak to people, not just about macros.
Yeah,
but
they become your friends over time, really, don't they? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. And I occasionally meet when I'm traveling around. I occasionally meet clients and stuff, and it's just nice. Yeah, it's cool.
Awesome. So kind of like in terms of who you try and attract as a client, like who is your avatar as such, like, because in your content you're kind of obviously putting across that flexible lifestyle. You don't need to be optimal every second of the day. Like what is your kind of like go-to avatar that you're trying to get into your business?
Yeah, so despite thing is, I wouldn't even really class myself as a competitor. Obviously, I compete, but it's not my kind of bread and butter. I will compete again, but I would definitely say that's kind of not really my avatar. Even though I have coached competitors and they've like won shows, I definitely don't kind of advertise for that. For me, it's more the people that they've been in the gym for maybe a year or 2 years, and like I said earlier, they've got the motivation to go, they've got the determination, the drive to go. They just don't know exactly what they're doing. They're following a GVT, and then they're doing low carb, and then they're asking the right questions. They just don't know the answers to them. So it's the people that they roughly know what to do in the gym. They know how to do all the exercises. And like I said, it's kind of probably an extension of what I said before with my one-to-ones. After 12 weeks of working with me one-to-one, they know most of what to do. They just need that ongoing support. And that's kind of what I do, with the people that I work with. So, I actually like to work with people who offer me the challenge in the sense that they are relatively social as
Yeah.
well, or they do travel a lot. Because to me, I get more satisfaction when someone gets a result and they haven't had the opportunity to be on point because, not that it's easy, but I just like that challenge
Yeah,
where
no.
people can say, I've went out and I went drinking, I had an anniversary and I went traveling and I still managed to lose a stone. It's
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I get the same satisfaction as well because I've written a post on my team page a little while about that, and it was like nice to being able to write about what they achieved without having to be so on point all the time. It does give you good satisfaction about it. So something I've never actually seen you actually do, which is something I don't see either like AJ and Steve Hall do either, is actually advertise. I've never actually
Never.
seen you put on Instagram about slots being open and stuff. And obviously, while there's a lot of coaches coming up in the industry that do need to advertise, because the reality is, if people don't know that you coach, then they're probably not going to join your service. How do you get to that point? And like, are you kind of advertising through email, through any other methods, like, or is it just a case of you just rely on your content and being attractive through that?
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever put slots open. I'm not going to say I won't do in the future because I might. I mean, I haven't taken on a new client since July this year. I probably won't be taking on any new ones until the new year.
Yeah.
So that's a good kind of 5 or 6 month period. But yeah, I might do in the future, but I just haven't. Just not because I have anything against it. I just haven't really needed to, and I've always honestly felt a bit insecure about it. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to, put stuff out there and then get rejected.
Yeah, for
Say
sure.
this many slots open and it's just like tumbleweed.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the reasons. But also, yeah, I just kind of let my content do the talking, and I've just found that, when you're getting results with people and referrals and things like that, you kind of just don't really need to. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's like arguing between low carb and low fat and things
Yeah.
like that. It's just not the way that I do things. But I just haven't had the need to really. And like I said, I just keep putting out content. I will kind of post like about clients, like I do this with my clients, I do that with my clients and things like that. So people kind of know what I do.
Yeah.
And obviously I have in my bios that I'm a coach and things like that. And I think just having that subtle, wording about working with clients and things like that, people clock on.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you just get people kind of come to you. And I find that I tend to get better clients
Yeah.
because of that,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just like, okay, I have an offer available or, this many spots left. You get people that are very impulse.
Yeah.
Whereas actually the clients that end up being the best are the clients that say, Harry, I've been following you for a year.
Yeah.
I really
sure.
like what you do. I want to, because then they know you, they trust you.
Yeah.
They're not working off of impulse.
Yeah. They've
And
kind
like I
of
said,
like,
there's nothing wrong with the other like spots available. It's just not the way I do it. That's it.
no, that's fair enough. And I agree. I think obviously to have that kind of like where I'm guessing you've been speaking to these people that potentially do come on board for probably months or years in direct messages, helping them out, and because they finally want to make that jump, they then come to you because you've been there for them, you've helped them, you've not blasted about coaching and wanting to fill spots and stuff. So yeah, naturally they're probably going to come to you, and they're probably going to be a better client as well because they're going to most likely stay for longer. And that's something that I've found as well with people that come to you. They do tend to stay longer and they're more accountable and they're just usually better clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool, awesome. So that's good to see. And like, in terms of your social media itself, obviously on Instagram, you're quite good at your whiteboard chats. That's something like, I think if you're not following Harry, you need to go and follow. You should probably learn absolutely tons on there. Does that help in terms of obviously attracting new people to obviously your online coaching? I'm guessing it sparks a lot of conversations in your DMs and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things I just came up with, and again, it that was sparked from working with Eric. Like one thing that I always thought he was very good at was taking those complex subjects and making them simpler,
Yeah.
and obviously not so simple that it dilutes the reasoning behind it. But I think some people are, visual learners as well, including myself. And I just think sometimes and that's why infographics and things like that are so popular on Instagram now,
Yeah.
right? Because everyone's getting dumb and can't read anymore. No, but it's the same sort of thing where I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna get this whiteboard out, and I'm just gonna start talking about stuff because it's actually easier for me to explain it when I'm, doing all these things. So I just wanted to make it easier to explain things so that people could understand. So, the questions, and I could also send people to like older whiteboard chats and things like that. And it's just, it was just a concept I came up with. Like it's nothing totally original, but yeah, it does definitely spark a lot of engagement. And a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, why are you giving away all this information for free, etc., etc." It's like, because 99% of the people won't do anything with it anyway. But the people that do, they just want to know that you know what you're talking about, and then they will work with you as a coach. So it does help some people, and it helps people understand as well, and it's really great. And like, again, from a satisfaction point of view, I've had other online coaches say to me, "Oh, this is how I do things now based on your whiteboard chat." And to me, that's like massively satisfying. I'm not a coach of online coaches, but that's, it's satisfying.
It's nice, yeah. No, I agree. And how do you go about thinking up the ideas for the content, especially for the infographics as well? Like what kind of sparks to make you think this is now going to be the whiteboard chat for the day, or this is going to be this day's infographics? Because like I've seen so many infographics now, and some of them are just really, really bad. But like with yours, they're actually decent quality, and the content is actually makes you want to read more. So like, what makes you kind of come up with the new ideas all the time?
A lot of it just comes from either client questions or like DMs, and I'll just kind of expand on those. But honestly, coming up with content is probably the greatest source of anxiety for me. Like, just like, you have like a couple of days where it's almost like a writer's block, and you're just like, I cannot think of anything right now. And you kind of need to like scroll through the archives and just like kind of wing it a little bit. But no, a lot of the time it will come from questions, and obviously as you kind of build up your profile, and as you build up, I get questions, as I mentioned, you do probably every day, and people are asking you because they trust the information that you're giving out. So it's kind of a bit of a snowball effect, whereby once people know that you have a good gauge on training and nutrition, they might send that message to 5 different coaches, and that's fine. But I think that really helps when you're actually just giving away information. But it's like, I think I started off by answering the questions that like my mum was asking. So you just start off super basic, and then obviously it just gets more and more advanced as you start to attract more advanced clientele and things like that. But a lot of it is just based on what people are asking, and you just got to give the people what they want, right? Even if you've said it a million times, sometimes you just need to give them what they want.
Just keep doing it over and over and over again until you're happy with the number of clients you got.
Pretty much.
Cool. So obviously, as you transitioned into an online coach, you're now obviously working with Lottie, who's your girlfriend. Through, is it A Taste of Fitness is now kind of like the brand that you're kind of working now under. How do you feel working together has grown your audience? Do you feel like it's helped you become more popular as online coaches, working together and showcasing that you both can do it as a couple? Like, tell us a bit about, I guess, that.
Yeah, I suppose the dynamic, it does help, because actually Lottie's got experience in different things. Obviously, being a female, you experience different things to males, and it's got to like the menstrual cycle and things like that. And obviously, she has a background of like disordered eating as well. Cool. Suffered from anorexia like about 4 or 5 years ago. So again, like, we're not specialists in that area, but I think a big thing with online coaching is having that empathy as well. And you spoke about earlier about the avatar situation, and it's about working with the people that are kind of similar to you and you can have empathy with. So if someone says to me, "Oh, I've had this issue and that problem," then you can actually say, "Well, I actually had this issue and this problem, and this is what I recommend you do about it." So it helps, because when you have 2 people, you then have more experience in terms of that empathy level. And if Lottie has a problem with one of her clients, then I can chip in, and if I have a problem with one of my clients as a female client, then she can chip in as well. So I do think it helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely helped us grow as a brand, and just throwing ideas about as well. Like, as you can imagine, the online coaching world can kind of be a bit lonely at times.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, you're effectively gone from one-to-one PT and talking to people all day, being on the floor, to an office job.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm sitting on my ass 8 hours a day. So yeah, I think it helps when you can kind of like bounce ideas off of each other and things like that. So yeah, I definitely think it's helped.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. And I've sort of obviously seen you both develop, and now you're going into what looks like the kind of the travel blogging as well. Is that kind of a route with fitness you're trying to get down, or is that just more to kind of let people into your world about what you're doing, so it seems obviously more attractive? Because what I've found is the more I've opened up about me personally, about the stuff I do, the more people can relate. And obviously that can massively have an effect with the blogs you're now doing as well, with the travel stuff.
Yeah, I think the whole reason, if we were to like rewind completely, the whole reason I got into like PTing and coaching is because it was a hobby of mine.
Yeah.
And I just started like people asking me questions, and I was writing about it. And then I've kind of felt that with the travel as well. Like I don't really have any aspirations yet of becoming a travel blogger or anything like that. But it kind of ties in the same way that you'll have a lot of fitness professionals do recipes and things like that, and food. Like it's kind of indirectly related. So it was kind of that thing. And like I said to you earlier, a lot of my clients, they're hot shots that fly for business, and they're going on holiday 3-4 times a year. And I just thought, actually, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And like I said, I had that throwaway story that I mentioned back in the summer where I started talking about traveling, and like I've never had so much engagement. Like I had people DMing me and oh, what did you do, this and that and the other. So I thought, you know what, like it just gives me another creative outlet.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important as well, to not become so one-dimensional with online coaching, because I've been doing it for a long time now. Like sometimes it can get a bit kind of same old. So I was like, you know what, I'm doing it anyway. Like I'm doing all this travel anyway, and I think it would help my clients as well to show that. And like I said, it's relatable. I think that if anything, it just becomes more relatable, because it's like, okay, so you have your online coaches that prep people, and they're very regimented, and then you have online coaches like myself who are a little bit more sort of blasé with it. But it's going to suit different people. Like there's plenty of clients out there for different coaches, and that's just the avenue. But I'm certainly not going to be stopping online coaching, and that is going to be my bread and butter. It's just a bit of a bit of a hobby, really.
I think you're doing the right thing with it, because again, it comes down to who you're looking to work with and relaying that in your content. And that's something a lot of coaches listen to this need to just remember, is put out content which relates to the people that you want to work with. Because like you said, you're wanting to work with kind of people that potentially have, like with obviously flying the world and still needing to track macros, maybe not being as on point with their food some weeks, and them then reading your blog then appeals to you as an online coach to potentially PT them, or obviously online coach them. So yeah, it's just all about making sure that your content is relatable to who you're trying to attract.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So what's the kind of plans for a Taste of Fitness as a brand? Like, where is it going? Like, is there any sort of plans in the pipeworks to where you're looking to go, or is it just mainly focusing on what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to do more with what we're doing now. One of the reasons why I haven't taken on any clients for a few months is because we're doing a bit of like a refurb of our like systems, the way we set things up, just to become a little bit more efficient. I think that's something that's really important as well, because obviously times change and things get updated. So in the same way you might like refurbish your house or a hotel or something, like we need to shut down almost to be able to do that. So at the moment we're going through a bit of a refurb of how we're running our systems, just to become more efficient. And then in the future we want to develop some tools to help people that potentially don't want to be coached, but they need the help, and to go beyond. You obviously have like online calorie calculators and stuff like that, so like that, but a lot more advanced and a lot more individual to the person, so that for people that don't want to be coached, because there's a lot of people that follow and like, okay, you put out great information, but I don't really want to be coached because I feel like I know enough, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working on that at the moment as well. So there's a lot of stuff kind of happening in the background at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think now is kind of the good time of year to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
As an online coach, just because, you know, you mentioned about the offers earlier. It's just funny how so many coaches are coming out with slots open at the moment and stuff like that. And I just think at the moment, like, it is kind of a seasonal business between January and sort of end of August, September.
Yeah.
It is like packed, you know, people, you know, there's people everywhere. But then towards the end of the year, that's when we're going to be like refurbing everything and just kind of having a bit of wind down, but also working on some other projects. So
yeah, I think that's a wise thing, and something I'm probably going to consider for myself actually now thinking about it, because you get so caught up in taking new people on, trying to hit a certain number of clients, that you kind of forget to systemize everything and make it easier for yourself each time. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of coaches listening to that will probably take that advice of what you've just said and start implementing it into their own business, because I know I'm going to.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to like definitely build up to that. Obviously, I'm in a fortunate position whereby I can. It's not like I'm not working. I still obviously have my clients. I'm just not taking new ones on. But I just found over the years I was getting, you know, frustrated because I was doing a lot of the same things every single day, and I was like, look, I know if I just have a bit of time out to be able to systemize this, I won't have to do this every single day. And when you're taking on new clients and, you know, clients are going in and out all the time, it becomes difficult because you've got people following different things, and you kind of need to just do a complete system overhaul. And that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. But like I said, it's only because I've been doing it for a couple of years now. I have the opportunity where I'm just like, right, I'm just going to graft from January till September, almost try and earn a year's worth of salary in 9 months, to be able to take that last 3 months off, to be able to then be more efficient the year after that.
Yeah, it adds longevity to the business, doesn't it? It means that you're not constantly trying to advertise all year round, and it gives you that chance to make your business everlasting instead of, like you said, getting clients, losing clients, getting clients, losing clients. So yeah, no, brilliant idea, mate. So in terms, where's that last question there? So if you were to start from scratch, what would you do now? Like in today's climate where a lot of coaches are now starting from scratch again because they've just come into this world, there's all these infographics there's all these different things which everyone is doing. What would you do if you had to start and build your business again?
So I think when you're first, loaded question. I think when you're first starting out, like you don't have a lot of money, but you have a lot of time. So it is just about being super helpful in just whatever you do. And just like, you know, you might be like scouring Instagram and seeing people posting things, like getting involved in conversations, like just create as much content as possible as well. And just like be really, really helpful in whatever you do. And then in terms of like getting your first set of clients, like I said, like look locally. You know, like there's guys at the gym that I train at now, Underground, and they've got like a cool little you know, team of people down there, but like online they don't have the biggest like following or anything like that, but they've got a cool little team of people, and that they all shout each other out, and that it's I would say like kind of keep it local first, and try and like talk to people in your local gym and try and kind of sign them up to online coaching for free, and then you'll start to get a reputation like in your local area. And then whilst you're doing that, you can be posting online and trying to build a following. But I think people just instantly think, like I said earlier, go online and, you know, you're a little fish in a very, very big pond. Yeah. Whereas you want to be the big fish in a little pond in your kind of local area. Yeah. No. And, you know, speaking to you know, even like old school friends and things like that, you know, they see what you're doing, and then, you know, you can just offer them free coaching. And all you need is, like, from my experience, like 2 or 3 like really good kind of results, and that can really kind of like snowball you. Yeah, for sure. So. No, I think what you said there about being a big fish in a little pond is probably more beneficial than being a little fish in a big pond. So start locally, become the guy that they go to locally, and then branch out as you start to bring more people on. So yeah.
I think
That would be
we all
mine.
get sideswept of thinking of going worldwide before even starting small, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, like I'm like we said before, I'm kind of like a dragon in the industry, but it's because I've never relied on getting that big break. It's
Yeah,
just been like consistently increasing business like year on year.
yeah,
I mean there's been like little tidbits here and there. Like I said, I've worked with a few people that have kind of like bumped up my following and stuff like that. But realistically, my business has just gone from strength to strength rather than getting like a massive
yeah,
jump and then you just kind of like fizzling out.
yeah.
You know, there's plenty of people that I've seen come and go in my years, and like they're not even in fitness anymore.
Mm. No,
They're doing
crazy.
something completely different. They're not in fitness. They basically had a massive rise and a massive fall.
Yeah,
So that would kind of be my advice as well. Is like play the long game. Like it doesn't mean quit your job and go into online coaching, but try and transition. And it's just that going being it for the long haul, really.
yeah. Awesome bit of advice, and I'm sure everyone listening to this will appreciate that. So I've taken that away definitely for sure. So before we kind of wrap things up, where can we find out more about yourself, your coaching, your content? Where's the best place for people to go?
So yeah, the best place is definitely going to be Instagram. So it's just my name, all one word, at Harry Ranson. And then I try and post as much as I can and stories and things. And that's where I put most of my informative content. And then the website is atasteoffitness.co.uk. And the reason why that name came up is because I used to do loads of recipes and I
Yeah,
want to start doing more. But again, like the online coaching took over and I think I just became less food focused because I wasn't competing anymore.
yeah, yeah,
I actually started that website like when I was competing because I was just like, oh, I can make a lasagna for like 40 calories.
yeah,
Let's post it on the internet. So that's kind of where the A Taste of Fitness came, and it just kind of stuck.
yeah,
But you know, as you know, you become your own brand. So like I'm my own brand, Lottie's her own brand. It's just that kind of like umbrella
yeah.
more than anything. But yeah, tasteoffitness.co.uk, and it has all the coaching stuff on there.
Awesome. It's funny you mentioned about the recipes because I was actually looking at them the other night because
Yeah.
I'm so food focused at the minute. So it's just like anything which is lower calorie version of what I want to eat, it fits really, really nicely. So there's a few
Yeah.
things I might be trying. I think,
They are decent. I mean, recipes are timeless at the end of the day, but
yeah,
I just thought I'd give a bit of a background of where the name, because people are like, what's that all about? So yeah, that's where it came from. But yeah, if you try some, let me know.
I will do. Awesome. So thank you again for coming on, mate. It's been great to speak. It seems like time's just flown by because I think we just covered loads of topics really, really quickly. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's been
Sorry if I spoke too much.
no, it's been brilliant. You were a great guest to have on, and I'm sure the listeners will take a lot away from this one. So yeah, thank you again for coming on, mate. And that concludes episode 14 of the Online Trainer Show. So thanks again for listening, guys. Remember to go and check out Harry's links, which will be in the podcast description, and we will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.